Hello and welcome. This is LBR.
Former Ceylon Chamber Chief Chandra Jayaratne is calling for tighter regulatory rules on bank boards than the ones being proposed for adoption next year. Financial sector regulator Central Bank has sought the banking community views on draft corporate governance rules it plans to finalize soon. Jayaratne says the regulator should ask bank directors to sign a sworn statement annually declaring they have acted in the interest of all stakeholders, including depositors. Sri Lankan banks, many of which are controlled by a few individuals, are famous for their nepotistic lending practices that put public deposits at risk.
A proposed mandatory corporate governance code for banks will make the board of directors responsible and accountable for management of affairs, including risk management.
It doesn't go far enough in the area of directors' capability and commitment and assuring that fit and proper directors are elected along with the entrusted management is in the hands of efficient, effective, capable people. So it is these two areas that I have tried to focus to strengthen in the governance code.
Chandra Jayaratne is a director of Sampath Bank and was a former chairman of the influential Ceylon Chamber of Commerce. Central Bank, which regulates the country's financial system, plans to implement the proposed governance code in January next year after considering industry views. Jayaratne, who has also been campaigning for better governance at Sri Lankan listed firms, is proposing significant changes in two main areas of the proposed mandatory code. He says the regulator should ask bank board members to sign an affidavit swearing that they have acted in the best interest of stakeholders, including depositors.
An affidavit that they have remained competent, capable and committed. In that respect, I have said they must at least be able to devote 80 to 100 hours a year, be able to understand the risks and challenges of the business, the environment, and specifically their interests of depositors. And thirdly, that they must not bring in their related party or conflicts into consideration. And there must be independent nomination of people onto boards.
If a sworn statement is found to be untrue, the declarant can face perjury charges. Jayaratne is also suggesting changes that would affect boardroom discussions.
I have tried to give a structured suggestion for a board meeting's agenda, and he must allow dissent. There must be discussion, there must be viewpoints, and the chairman has a critical role in balancing the executive's role and responsibility as well as the other directors' capability being brought in.
Central Bank proposed draft governance rules focus on the board of directors and independent committees like ones for audit and remuneration. The rules try to separate the functions of the chairman and directors from the executive management. The bank chairman will have to be an independent non-executive director, while the rules also limit the number of directorships a person can hold. It's currently common practice for Sri Lankan directors to sit on multiple boards, often with conflicting interest. Because banks depend more on public funds than on equity to fund operations, regulators who have looked after all stakeholder interests and keep them under tight control.
If you take a bank, their funds that they invest comes only about 1/20th only come from the shareholders. Say if the shareholders have given 5 billion, there would be about 100 billion given by depositors. But the governance role today seems to be more focused upon delivery to shareholders and to employees rather than delivery of risk-protected high returns to the depositors. So that is the new role of governance, I think, that must come in with this code.
Banking Supervision Department drafted code will give banks 6 months transitional time once implemented in January. Once fully operational by July next year, directors will have to attend at least 80% of board meetings.
In fact, some come with the board paper packets not even opened to the board meeting. Then some of them are, I think, too busy or too tired. They fall asleep during meetings. And thirdly, some of them do not have the capacity and the capability of seeing the real risks.
He says a director should be able to spend 80 to 120 hours per board position held annually, understanding the likely risks and challenges the business faces. Chandra, who has been director in various companies for 25 years, challenges nepotistic practices in corporate Sri Lanka, where directors who appoint relations and friends to the board of directors. Weak boards, especially in financial institutions, expose depositors to higher risk.
Up to now, the governance of banks have not focused on two areas. I think the stress on depositors, the governance for the sake of depositors, and secondly, governance towards being prepared for the risks and challenges of tomorrow. And I think this is a window of opportunity with which the new governance code addresses some of them.
The proposed code contains principle-based rules on responsibilities of directors, chairman and chief executive officers, criteria for fitness and propriety of directors, related party transactions and conflicts of interests, functions of board-appointed committees and disclosures.